Okay, we're with Jake Thurm, PGA Tour coach, and John Richman from
the Martin City Golf Center in Kansas City, Missouri.
And we are talking the key pressure points using any pressure mat you want. In my case, it's with BodiTrak, of course. And we're going to talk, we've already mentioned the first pressure point, Jake, 55-60 lead side.
Correct.
Setup. Now we're going to talk about the second pressure point.
We're going to talk about lead arm parallel on the backswing, or for those scoring at home, P3. So if we're going to have JR take the multi-stick up to P3, so lead arm parallel on the backswing. So right about here. So I don't care how centered you believe yourself to be. To some extent, there is mass moving to the trail side on the backswing because the hands, arms, and golf club are being swung in that direction. This is a key position because somewhere between here and if he would swing back and get his arms almost up to shoulder height, somewhere between them will be the maximum amount of pressure shifted to the trail side. After that, he starts the chain reaction where he'll get into a pressure leak into the lead side. Why is this important? Because so many amateurs who claim to want to hit the ball far, right? That's pretty much everybody comes to see you.
You do?
Well,
you guys want to hit it further?
I've never hit it far enough, okay? So the funniest thing is they hit you with the, I need to pause at the top. Here's the problem with the pause at the top, is what it does is it freezes the pressure to the trail side, and then amateurs struggle with what we're about to get into, is not getting enough pressure forward soon enough.
Hanging back.
Exactly, in transition. So the maximum amount of pressure for most of your great players who really send it is actually anywhere from lead arm parallel to around their shoulder height. After that, the pressure starts, they start making a preparatory move under their lead side to accommodate what's going to be a center of mass move to that side.
So at the second key pressure point,
yeah,
when the lead arm is parallel to the ground on the way back, how much pressure should the golfer have to the trail side when the lead arm is parallel to the ground on the way back? And I guess it would depend on the length of the club.
It would depend on the length of the club, but I think anywhere from 70 to 80% of pressure on their trail side at around that place is pretty good. And obviously now we're getting to the key in terms of power creation, because the power is indeed in the ground. It is going to be getting that pressure to shift forward sooner for amateurs, sooner.
Okay, and let's address the issue about counterbalance, because you
Yep.
talked a lot about that in your previous videos. So when the lead arm is parallel to the ground on the way back,
right. So a lot of amateurs are they're struggling maintaining dynamic posture. So if you want to keep yourself bent forward towards the ball, maintaining that posture or giving that appearance, then the only way to be in this kind of a side bend here would be to have pressure in the trail heel some amount, about 55%. If you have pressure in the trail heel, that serves as a counterbalance that allows his top half to remain bent forward.
your arms have a mass,
or what we call our forward bend.
and your arms do have a weight to it.
100%.
So
yeah.
when you're throwing that weight forward, you better have a little bit more pressure in your trail heel
Absolutely.
to counteract the weight of the mass moving towards the toes.
Well, in that, what they're estimating is, depending on the club and depending on the speed, that club, when it is swung in front of you, can be anywhere dynamically to 90 pounds to 100 pounds. So you better be counterbalancing to the trails.
Great point. And one thing we've noticed, Jake, and we saw this with Gary Hallberg when we were working, one thing we saw with some really older tour players, they get almost too much pressure in the trail heel. They overcompensate, whereas amateurs, they kind of get the exact opposite, too much pressure in the trail toe.
Trail toe, that's where they start. They actually start their early extension in the backswing, whereas a pro, you're right, a touring pro could definitely get too much pressure into the trail side, and what that would cause them to is kick out too much towards the lead toe, and then they're unable to rotate, or what they love to call stuck.
So P1 and P2, and pressure point 1, pressure point 2, and pressure point 2, which is lead arm parallel to the ground way back.
P2 would be shaft parallel, P3 lead arm parallel.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay, Jake Thurm, John Richman, Terry Hashimoto at the PGA Championship in Bell Reef.